guys, welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to be talking about the Kershaw Shuffle line of knives, specifically the original Shuffle and the Shuffle 2 that you see here. Both knives are very similar as far as weight and overall dimensions. They're very close. The original Shuffle comes in at 2.8 ounces. You're looking at 3 ounces on the Shuffle 2. They're both a hollow ground 8CR13 MOV blade steel. They're both handle materials are comprised of a GFN material. Handle thickness is coming in at 0.41 of an inch. You're looking at 2 and 2.375 inch blade on the original Shuffle, 2.5 inch on the Shuffle 2. You're looking at a drop point style on the original, and obviously a tanto on the Shuffle 2. They are opposite as far as terms of carry. They both are left or right hand capable, but the original Shuffle is tip up carry only, and it's tip down carry on the Shuffle 2, left or right hand side. And I think the reason that they did that was because the original Shuffle, now for me, I've been carrying knives for a long time, and it's really not an issue for me, but if you were to put this into your right pocket and then go in to get some change or something else out, I could see how you could catch on that bottle opener. But for me, I carried this knife in preparation for this video, which I want to thank my brother for loaning me this to compare these two knives, just because I own the Shuffle 2 and he owns the original. But I never had an issue with that. I tend, just because I've always carried knives, tend to kind of make sure my fingertips are underneath my knife if it's a knife that's not tucked back deep in the corner of my pocket, to get them underneath it and then slide in. So it's really not an issue for me, but I can see if you're not used to carrying a knife, or more specifically if you're not used to carrying this knife and you go ahead and jam your hand in your pocket, I could see how that could potentially catch you. And although I don't think it would cut you, it definitely could scratch you, scrape you. So that's just something to keep in mind. But I'm pretty sure that that's how they remedied it was by making it the carry position tip down carry on the Shuffle 2. So no hot spots, nothing like that. As far as knife's cutting capabilities, really it just comes down to blade style preference. Specifically, the Shuffle 2 does have the black wash finish. Now, I don't think that's really neither here nor there on a knife in this price range, whether you choose the satin stone wash or the black wash finish. They're both the same blade steels with the 8CR13 MOV, which has good corrosion resistance. It'll hold an okay edge. It's obviously something that's going to be touched up every now and then, but the plus side of that is it's easily freshened back up to a nice razor sharp edge. Excuse me. So as far as some of the other things of this knife, they are liner lock stainless steel liners, and it's a full liner. I don't know if we can get the camera in there, but you're looking at full liners on the original Shuffle as well as the Shuffle 2. They're not skeletonized or anything like that, but they're still able to keep the weight down relatively light. The bottle openers, I've got to give the thumbs up to the original Shuffle. I think it's a little bit easier to go ahead, and it's quicker, definitely quicker, to go ahead and get that on the cap and pop it right off. It took a little more practice with the Shuffle 2. While it is ambidextrous as far as having that bottle opener on the left and right hand side, I found it best to get it under the cap, use my thumb to steady it, and then pop it up. So I was able to do it, but it's definitely quicker and easier with the original Shuffle. Now, as far as the flatheads go, both of them, I've heard some people refer to these as pry bars. No, these are not pry bars. It's just a simple, small little flathead. You could use this as a mini pry or a scraper, and I think you'd get away with prying on some things, not having too much of an issue. If you pry too hard, you're probably going to end up cracking your handle, though. The Shuffle 1, I gotta give the thumbs up again as far as using it as a flathead screwdriver. I have older windows in my home, and I went up to some of the hardware on them, which was flathead, and I backed a few out, screwed them back in just to get an idea and a feel in the hand. And what I found was, if you were to imagine a straight center line, so we'll keep this flush at a 90, and you would imagine a center line coming down. It feels good in the hand. I won't say it feels like a screwdriver, but it definitely felt good. Now when you look at the Shuffle 2, if we were to index that flathead, back the camera out, so it's the same flat angle as I was showing you on the original Shuffle, you can see how it's kicked out. So in the hand, it's either kicked away from you or kicked into your palm. So I noticed that it definitely felt, while I could still screw things in and out fairly easy, it definitely didn't feel as comfortable in the hand. So that's another thing I got to give to the Shuffle 1. As far as overall, which one would I pick? Just because I like things that are a little bit larger size and I think it feels a little bit more comfortable in the hand, I probably would still pick the Shuffle 2. It's just because I don't really care for the K pattern in the Shuffle 1. And again, while I didn't experience the bottle opener being a hot spot in my palm, I just feel like I have a little bit more of a secure purchase on the Shuffle 2. The finger choil is slightly smaller on the Shuffle 2, but I'm still able to get it in there. Finger number 2, finger number 3, and finger number 4, all on that choil plus the handle. And I end up feeling really solid in the hand, and being as it's tipped down, the pocket clip does not, come in contact with my palm or create any hot spots or anything like that. When I go ahead in the slightly shorter original Shuffle, and go ahead, finger choil is larger, so the initial finger feels a little more comfortable, but then you'll notice my pinky kind of ends up right on the edge here or off of it, so it just feels a little bit different in the hand. And then also that pocket clip, you can see right where it's just coming into contact with my skin. So when I go ahead and index it into my hand, that actually does create a little bit of a hot spot. It's not painful or anything like that, it's just something that I definitely notice. I definitely feel it there. So as far as for comfort, daily use, if I was to EDC this knife, I would pick the Shuffle 2. Also, it has a slightly different lockup, which is going to be way too hard to show on camera. But essentially there's a stop pin as part of the blade on the original Shuffle. And there is a little bit of side-to-side play. I mean, actually, it's probably more than a little, to be honest and fair. On the Shuffle 2, it feels pretty rock solid. Now, in fairness, this knife has been used a little bit more than mine, but the lockup is significantly better on the Shuffle 2 over the Shuffle 1. So I really feel like they just kind of paid attention to the knife. They saw its shortcomings, and they addressed a few of the things in the Shuffle 2 and made it overall a slightly better knife. I'd really like to see a Shuffle 3 where they kind of even take it one step further and go with that theme of lightweight, maybe get that weight back down a little bit, even though it's not a whole lot heavier. If we could get it back down around that 2.5 ounce range, somewhere in there, I think that would be really good. And then maybe do, the drop point style blade with this type of handle, I think would be a really good seller for them. The biggest bonus I'm going to say on these knives, whether you like them, whether you don't like them, is every now and then you catch these knives on sale. These particularly this one was $12.99 on sale at Menards, and it also came with the little Kershaw Cinder knife, which I can show you guys that one. It's not really that great of a knife, but so it came with that, and then this was also on sale for the same price, $12.99, after the holidays this year at Menards. So for $13, I feel like it's a pretty good knife in that price range. For a few dollars more, could you get a sturdier knife with slightly better materials or the same materials, but it's executed better? Yeah, sure, I think you could. But still, these are fun, great little backup or bug out knives or keychain knives. They're just a cool little knife, and I think they have a little bit of a cult following. If you read some of the reviews or people knock on them too hard, you'll see a lot of people coming to their rescue and defending them, and I think for good reason. I mean, it's still a Chinese-made Kershaw, but they're cool little knives. They look cool. They feel pretty good in the hand, and they still offer, quite a few EDC purposes that you might come into in your everyday situations. But yeah, so that is the Kershaw Shuffle 2. 3 ounce 8CR 13MOV Tonto blade. You've got an ambidextrous bottle opener, a flathead, which could be used in light duty as a scraper or a pry bar. Tip down carry. Pretty good action, solid lockup. And then you've got the original Shuffle 1, which is tip up carry left or right hand side. So you're kind of going into the sharper end of the knife when you go to get in your pocket. Still has pretty good action, same blade steel, but obviously there is a little bit of play in there. but still cool knives. If you get a chance to pick one up for cheap, I say go for it. All right, guys, thanks for watching. Take care.